Chosen ones, what I'm about to share may surprise you, even shock you. If you're watching this video right now, it's not by coincidence. God has led you here for a powerful reason. Something extraordinary is about to happen in your life because there is one person who has been sent into your life and they will change everything for you. Yes, you heard me right. God has approved this connection and it's divinely orchestrated. This person, whether you know them yet or not, is going to lead you to your highest purpose and unlock blessings you've only dreamed of. But here's the thing. You need to be ready. This is not just a coincidence, it's divine timing. You're about to experience a transformation like never before, and it's all because God has approved this moment in your life. Before we dive into this life-changing revelation, take a moment to pause this video and do 3 things. Hit that like button, subscribe to help us reach 40,000 subscribers, and leave a comment with the number 11. This number will send a powerful signal to the universe amplifying the energy of this video. And remember, if you are truly a chosen one, you'll watch this video until the end, because deep down, your spirit already knows that this message is for you. If you're ready to embrace this truth, your life will never be the same. Now, let's get into it. Rejection can feel like a punch to the gut. It's painful when people walk away, when doors close, when the world leaves you standing alone, wondering if you're good enough. But what if I told you that every no you've received wasn't a reflection of your worth, but rather a redirection to something better? God has a way of closing doors that were never meant for you. The relationships that failed, the opportunities that slipped through your fingers, these weren't setbacks. They were God's way of saying, I have something better for you. When people turned their backs, when the world mocked you, God was leading you toward your destiny. Those moments of rejection became the foundation of your resilience. They broke you only to build you stronger. The wounds that once felt like the end were actually the beginning of your transformation. Rejection is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that God is redirecting your path towards the plans He has specifically designed for you. His redirection is always for your elevation, and with each step, you're closer to the life He's prepared. You've felt broken before, haven't you? Like the pieces of your life were scattered, never to be whole again. But here's the truth. God never creates junk. Every crack, every scar, every tear is part of His masterpiece. It's easy to look at our brokenness and see defeat, but when God looks at you, He sees beauty in the making. You've been through the fire, and though it felt unbearable at times, you were being refined, purified, and shaped into a version of yourself that can carry the weight of your destiny. What the world sees as flaws, God sees as strength. Those pieces that seemed irreparable, they are the very things that will shine the brightest when you embrace them. Your scars aren't signs of weakness, but symbols of resilience. The beauty in you isn't just skin deep. It runs through your soul, your character, and your purpose. You are God's masterpiece, and He has been carefully crafting your story, one chapter at a time. What you thought was broken is actually your greatest strength. They laughed at you. They mocked your dreams, your goals, your very existence. People made you feel small, like you weren't worthy of success or love. But what they didn't see was the strength you were silently developing, the strength that was growing within you in the moments when no one was watching, the strength that was born out of the hardships, the trials, and the battles you fought alone. What they mocked was the very strength that would eventually carry you to places they could never imagine. You didn't know it at the time, but the mockery only added to your power. Each insult, each sneer, was an opportunity for you to rise higher. The world may have laughed, but God was cheering you on from the sidelines, knowing the moment would come when the mockery would be silenced by your success. Your strength wasn't found in the applause of others. It was found in your quiet perseverance, in your refusal to give up. And now, as you stand tall, those who mocked you can only watch in awe as you step into the life that was always meant for you. It's easy to feel forgotten when you've been waiting for so long. You've loved, you've given, and you've hoped for that perfect love to arrive. Yet despite your heart's deepest desires, it's always seemed just out of reach. But what if I told you that everything you've been waiting for is being prepared for you in the perfect time? God's timing is never late. He knows exactly when your heart will be ready, and when the love that is meant for you will arrive. And when it does, it will be more beautiful than you could have ever imagined. This isn't just any love, it's the love you deserve, the love that has been written in the stars for you. It's divine, purposeful, and approved by God Himself. It will come when the time is right, and when it does, it will be the greatest confirmation of all that you were never meant to settle for less than what God has prepared for you. Your heart's deepest longings will be met in a way that makes every moment of waiting worth it. Trust in divine timing. Love will find you when you're ready to receive it fully. Setbacks. They sting, don't they? You've worked so hard, only to be faced with obstacles that feel impossible to overcome. But here's the truth. Every setback was part of God's greater plan for you. Every failure, every delay, every closed door was leading you to something better. What you might see as a step back was actually God positioning you for a breakthrough. He needed you to grow, to strengthen your character, and to prepare for what was coming. God doesn't waste pain. What you've gone through hasn't been for nothing. Nothing. Your setbacks were just setups for the next level of your life. When you look back, you'll see that those moments of struggle were necessary for you to step into your full potential. They were never meant to break you. They were meant to make you. Trust that every single moment has been part of a larger picture, a divine plan that is unfolding before your eyes, even when you can't yet see it. The world will always have an opinion. It will judge your choices, question your decisions, and try to dictate your path. But what the world doesn't understand is that God's wisdom far surpasses their judgment. While they may label you as lost or misguided, God sees the bigger picture. He knows the end from the beginning, and His wisdom is the guiding force behind every step you take. His plan for your life is bigger, more beautiful, and more fulfilling than anything the world can offer. You don't need to seek approval from those who don't understand your journey. When you walk in God's wisdom, you are walking in the highest form of truth. The world's judgment will fade, but God's wisdom will always remain. Trust in His voice above all others. His direction is the only one that matters. It will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of, a life that exceeds every expectation. Patience isn't just a virtue, it's a powerful force that unlocks your future. When you're waiting for God's promises to come to pass, it can feel like an eternity. But the power of patience lies in trusting that God is never late. He is preparing you for something so much greater than what you can see right now. Trusting His timing means believing that He is working behind the scenes, even when it seems like nothing is happening. And the beauty of patience is that it builds your faith, strengthens your resilience, and helps you appreciate the blessings that are coming your way. God's timing is always perfect. He knows what you need, when you need it, and how it will best serve your purpose. Waiting doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're in the process of becoming the person you are always meant to be. Trust that your time will come, and when it does, it will be worth every moment of waiting you've experienced. You've had your share of ruins, the moments when everything seemed lost, when your world crumbled around you and it felt like you'd never recover. But let me remind you of something. God is in the business of taking ruins and turning them into revivals. What you saw as destruction, God saw as an opportunity to build something even greater. Every broken piece of your life has been part of a divine process that will ultimately lead to your revival. When you're in the ruins, it's easy to feel like hope is gone, but that's when God is doing His best work. He is the God who brings beauty out of ashes, who restores what the enemy meant for evil. Your revival is coming, and when it does, it will be more glorious than anything you could have imagined. The ruins you thought would define you will become the stepping stones to the greatest restoration of your life. They laughed at you. They said you wouldn't make it. Some even mocked the very dreams you held close to your heart. But in the midst of their words, something incredible was happening. What they didn't realize is that the mockery would fuel your rise. Every negative word they spoke only made you stronger. It ignited a fire inside you that refused to burn out. What they saw as a weakness in you, God used as a launch pad for your greatness. The mockery was never meant to defeat you. It was meant to push you toward your destiny. Each time they tried to tear you down, God was lifting you higher. Now, as you stand on the other side of their mockery, it's clear you were never meant to stay down. You were always destined to rise. The world will be forced to acknowledge the strength that grew in the midst of their doubt. The mockery they thought would crush you only made you rise higher than they ever imagined. For so long, you've heard the doubt. You'll never find real love. No one will ever love you the way you deserve. The world may have said these things, but God has already written a different story for you. The love that's meant for you has been approved by God Himself. It's already on its way. What you've been waiting for is not just a fleeting romance. It's a love that is divinely designed for you, perfectly tailored to your heart, and planned with purpose. This love will surpass every disappointment and every heartache you've endured. When it arrives, it will show you that everything you've been through was worth the wait. You are worthy of a love that is whole, pure, and unshakable, and the moment it enters your life, it will be the most powerful confirmation that God knows your heart, and He has always had your back. There were moments when you thought you weren't deserving of the best. You settled for less, thinking it was all you could get. Maybe you stayed in situations that drained you, relationships that hurt you, or jobs that didn't value your worth. But hear this: you were never meant to settle. God has a plan for you that involves abundance, joy, and fulfillment. The life He designed for you is far more than you can ever settle for. You were made for greatness, and that greatness requires you to reach higher. God has never called you to live in mediocrity. His plans for you are to prosper, to thrive, and to live in the fullness of His blessings. You were created to stand out, to shine, and to experience the life that He has meticulously prepared for you. The time for settling is over. Step into the fullness of your destiny and embrace all that God has planned for you. Don't settle for less when God has so much more in store. You've been through battles that left you feeling vulnerable. Yet there's one truth you can always hold on to. God's protection is over your life. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. They may have tried to hurt you, deceive you, or destroy you. But what God has chosen, no one can touch. His hand of protection surrounds you like a shield, ensuring that every plan of the enemy is thwarted before it can harm you. Though the world may come at you with lies and betrayal, God's protection is a fortress you can trust. You don't need to fear the attacks because you are covered by divine grace. The enemy may try to bring you down, but every attack will only be used to elevate you. God's protection ensures that nothing can stand in the way of the plans He has for you. What is His will for your life cannot be stopped. You are untouchable in His love. At one point, you may have felt like you were nothing more than discarded, forgotten, or overlooked. Perhaps you felt like your life was full of mistakes, shame, and regret, as though you had nothing of value to offer. But God doesn't see you the way the world does. What the world calls trash, God calls treasure. Your story is one of transformation, from the depths of despair to the heights of greatness. Every trial you've been through has refined you, turned your pain into purpose, and your scars into a testament of strength. You are no longer the person you once were. God has taken what seemed like a lost cause and turned it into something precious. The world may have rejected you, but God has chosen you. You are His treasure, His prized possession. The transformation you've gone through is a testimony to His power to take what seems worthless and make it invaluable. You are a living, breathing example of God's ability to take something broken and turn it into something beautiful. There were times when people called you foolish. "Why are you waiting for something that hasn't come yet?" they asked. They couldn't understand why you didn't rush, why you didn't settle, why you didn't give up. But now, in the quiet of your success and peace, you realize something. The very thing they mocked as foolishness was actually your greatest strength. You waited when everyone else rushed. You trusted when others doubted. And now your patience has paid off. Waiting on God's timing wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a sign of deep faith and trust. You outlasted the doubts, the criticisms, and the temptation to settle. And in doing so, you allowed God to move in your life in ways no one could have predicted. Your waiting wasn't passive, it was active, filled with trust and fortified by hope. You became stronger through the waiting, and now you are walking into a life that surpasses all expectations. You were never a fool for waiting on God's timing. You were wise beyond measure. You've been through a fire that left you feeling burned, scarred, and defeated. The pain was overwhelming, and there were moments when you didn't think you'd make it. Yet, here you are, still standing, stronger than before. The very ashes that once represented your downfall are now the foundation of your rise. You are living proof that even in the darkest moments there is a divine purpose at work. What seemed like an end was only the beginning of your comeback story. Every setback, every tear you shed, was not wasted. They were the building blocks of a strength you never knew you had. God was there in the flames, refining you, molding you, and preparing you for a future that would be more glorious than you could ever imagine. The fire didn't destroy you. It purified you. And now you're emerging from the ashes not as the person you were, but as a stronger, wiser version of yourself. The world may have seen your fall, but what they failed to realize was that your comeback was already written. Your comeback story is not just for you. It's for the people who need to see that transformation is possible. When they see you rise, they will be reminded that no matter how deep the pain, no matter how overwhelming the struggle, it's never the end. You will inspire those around you with the truth that they, too, can rise from their ashes. Your strength is their hope, and your story will ignite a spark in their hearts. As you step forward into your purpose, know that the journey ahead is just the beginning of something beautiful. The ashes you once feared now serve as a powerful reminder of God's ability to transform your pain into purpose. Your comeback is unstoppable, and it will leave a legacy that echoes through time. Forgiveness is not just a gift to others, it is a powerful act of self-liberation. It's the key that unlocks the chains of bitterness and anger, allowing you to move forward with a heart that is free to love, to grow, and to embrace the future God has for you. When you hold on to unforgiveness, you are only hurting yourself. It's like carrying a weight that drags you down, preventing you from soaring to the heights God has prepared for you. Forgiving those who have wronged you doesn't mean excusing their actions. It doesn't mean forgetting the hurt, but rather releasing the power it has over your life. It's an act of faith, a declaration that you trust God's justice more than your desire for revenge. When you forgive, you create space in your heart for healing, and you open the door for God's grace to flow in and restore what was broken. True forgiveness allows you to break free from the past. It enables you to step into a future where you are no longer bound by old wounds. It's not easy, and it's not quick, but the freedom it brings is worth every moment of effort. As you forgive, you free yourself from the grip of the past and allow God to do a work in you that transforms not just your heart, but your life. Remember, forgiveness doesn't change the past. It changes your future. It's a decision that leads to peace, healing, and freedom. When you choose to forgive, you are making room for God's love to flow in and restore every broken piece of your life. And as you let go, you will find that the future ahead of you is brighter, lighter, and filled with endless possibilities. In a world that constantly tells you to conform, there is power in standing out. You were never meant to fit in. From the moment you were created, God designed you to be different, to stand apart, and to shine in your own unique way. The very qualities that make you feel like an outsider are the ones that will ultimately lead you to your purpose. God didn't create you to blend into the crowd. He created you to lead, to inspire, and to make a difference in the world around you. You may have spent years trying to fit into molds that weren't meant for you. You've tried to change who you are to meet the expectations of others, but deep down, you've always known that you were made for something more. Now is the time to embrace your uniqueness fully, your quirks, your talents, your perspective. They are the gifts that set you apart. The world needs what you have to offer, and it will only be blessed when you step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. When you stop trying to fit in, you create room for God's purpose to unfold in your life. He has a path carved out just for you, and it will be unlike any journey you've ever imagined. The people who matter will love you for who you are, not for who you try to be. Embrace the freedom of authenticity, knowing that when you stand in your truth, you are aligning with God's plan for your life. The world will try to push you into a box, but the true fulfillment in life comes from breaking free from those constraints and living authentically. When you step into the person God created you to be, you will find that everything you've been searching for has been inside you all along. There was a time when you stopped dreaming. The disappointments, the heartaches, and the setbacks made you believe that hope was a luxury you could no longer afford. You may have settled for a life that was good enough, convinced that your dreams were too far out of reach. But today I want to remind you that it's never too late to dream again. God has not given up on you, and He never will. Your dreams are still valid, and your hope is still worth fighting for. Sometimes all it takes is the courage to start again. It may feel daunting to pick up the pieces of your broken dreams, but God specializes in making the impossible possible. He has a way of reigniting the fire in your heart, even when you think it's gone out. The dreams that once felt unattainable are still within your grasp. God's timing is perfect, and He will bring everything together at the right moment. All you need to do is trust and begin dreaming once more. To dream again requires vulnerability. It means opening your heart to the possibility of disappointment, but also to the possibility of great joy. It means believing that the desires God placed in your heart are still part of His plan for you, even though life may not have gone according to your expectations. You are still on the path to fulfilling your purpose. God is not finished with you yet, and neither should your dreams be. So allow yourself to dream again. Trust in the divine plan that is unfolding, even when it feels uncertain. God is stirring something beautiful in your heart, and it's time to let your hope rise once more. Your future is waiting, and it's full of the possibilities you've been longing for. For so long, you've hidden behind a mask. Maybe it was because you didn't want to seem weak, or because you thought your true self wasn't enough. But here's the truth. Vulnerability is where your true strength lies. When you allow yourself to be authentic, to show the world who you truly are, you invite the kind of healing and growth that can only come from embracing your true self. God made you unique, and there is power in that uniqueness. Vulnerability isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of courage. It takes real strength to be honest about your struggles, to open up to others, and to let them see the parts of you that are raw and unguarded. But when you do, you give others permission to do the same, and in doing so, you create a space for real connection, for healing, and for transformation. Your vulnerability is a bridge that leads to deeper relationships, and a more meaningful life. God created you to be fully alive, fully authentic, and fully human. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you align with His design for your life. You are showing the world that it's okay to be imperfect, that it's okay to be broken, and that it's okay to be real. Through vulnerability, you create an atmosphere where grace can abound, where healing can happen, and where God's love can pour through you in ways you never expected. So embrace your vulnerability. Stop hiding behind the walls of self-doubt and fear. Let the world see the beautiful, imperfect, strong person you are. God is proud of you, and He is ready to use your authenticity to touch lives in ways you can't even imagine. Faith isn't about seeing the path clearly before you. It's about trusting that even when you can't see the way, God is already leading you. You've been asked to trust in the unseen, to believe in the promises that have yet to materialize, and that kind of faith, that unwavering belief, is what moves mountains. When you trust God, even when the road ahead is unclear, you tap into a power that is greater than anything the world can offer. It's easy to trust when everything is going right, but faith is most powerful when you can't see any way out. You've been through seasons where doubt crept in, where you questioned whether God was still with you. But each time, He has proven His faithfulness. He has led you through the storms and shown you that He is always working behind the scenes, even when you don't see it. God is moving, orchestrating every detail of your life for your good. This is the beauty of faith. It gives you the strength to keep moving even when the destination is out of sight. Every step you take in faith is a step closer to the breakthrough that God has already prepared for you. The mountains you face will crumble at the power of your trust in Him, so don't fear the unknown. Embrace it with the confidence that God is already ahead of you, making a way where there seems to be none. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting in the one who holds the answers. And when you walk by faith, you walk in victory. From the moment you were born, God had a purpose for your life. It's a purpose that goes beyond what you've experienced, beyond the struggles and setbacks that have shaped you. It's the reason you're here, the reason you're still standing, despite everything life has thrown at you. You were never meant to just survive. You were meant to thrive, to step into your divine calling and fulfill the purpose God has set before you. It's easy to feel lost, to wonder if you're truly on the right path, but rest assured, every step you've taken has brought you closer to your purpose. Even the detours and setbacks were part of God's plan, leading you to exactly where you need to be. The dreams He's planted in your heart are not accidents. They are divine markers, pointing you in the direction of your destiny. Now is the time to embrace your calling. It's time to stop holding back, stop doubting, and step fully into who you are always meant to be. God is waiting for you to take that step of faith, to rise above your fears, and to walk in the full authority He has given you. Your purpose is calling. Will you answer? When you step into your purpose, you align your life with God's plan. It's a life that is full of meaning, fulfillment, and joy. It's time to live with intention, to embrace the gifts you've been given, and to make the impact you are always destined to make. It's hard to let go, isn't it? Whether it's letting go of control, of past hurts, or of relationships that no longer serve you, surrendering can feel like giving up. But in reality, it's the most powerful thing you can do. Surrender is not weakness, it's strength. It's a declaration that you trust God more than you trust yourself, that you believe His plan for you is better than any plan you could create. When you surrender to God, you open your heart to His will. You stop fighting against the flow of His grace and start trusting that He knows what's best for you. The weight you've been carrying, the burden of trying to control every outcome, will be lifted. When you let go, you make room for God to move in ways you never imagined. He will take the broken pieces of your life and turn them into something beautiful. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving in to God's perfect plan. It's acknowledging that you don't have to have it all figured out, because God already does. When you release the need for control, you step into a life of peace, trust, and unshakable faith. God's will for you is good, and when you surrender to it, you will find that everything falls into place in ways you couldn't have orchestrated. Let go and let God. His plans for you are far greater than anything you could imagine. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you when something good happens. It's a mindset, a way of seeing the world through a lens of appreciation, no matter what's happening around you. When you choose to focus on the good, you shift your perspective. Even in the hardest times, there is always something to be grateful for. Gratitude transforms your heart and your outlook, opening your eyes to the blessings you may have overlooked. By cultivating an attitude of gratitude, you align yourself with God's goodness. You acknowledge that even in the midst of struggle, His hand is at work, providing, protecting, and guiding. Gratitude opens the door for more blessings, because when you're thankful for what you have, you make room for even greater gifts. It's a cycle. The more grateful you are, the more God pours into your life. But gratitude isn't just about the good things, it's about seeing God's hand in all things. It's acknowledging that every challenge, every setback, has a purpose. When you learn to be grateful for the lessons, the growth, and the strength that come through adversity, you unlock a deeper level of peace and joy in your life. Make gratitude your daily practice. Start each day by counting your blessings and watch how your mindset shifts. The more grateful you are, the more you will see the goodness of God in every moment. Faith is not passive, it's active, bold, and courageous. It's the willingness to take the first step even when you can't see the entire staircase. God has called you to walk in faith, to trust Him even when the way ahead is unclear. It's easy to wait for the perfect moment, for everything to fall into place, but faith requires action. It requires you to move, to step forward, even when you don't have all the answers. When you walk in faith, you are stepping into the unknown with the confidence that God is leading you. Each step you take in faith brings you closer to your destiny. You may not know how things will turn out, but you know that God is with you, guiding you every step of the way. With faith, there is no fear, only trust in the one who holds your future. The first step is often the hardest, but it's also the most transformative. When you take that leap of faith, you open the door to the abundant life God has prepared for you. He will meet you in your courage, and He will provide everything you need along the way. Trust that God will lead you. Walk in faith and watch how He moves mountains in your life. Healing is never a linear process. It's a journey, one filled with pain, setbacks, and moments of doubt. But no matter how broken you feel, God's restoration plan is already in motion. The hurt you've experienced is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a powerful transformation. He is taking every tear you've shed, every scar you've carried, and turning it into a testimony of His goodness and grace. The healing process may seem slow, but it's happening. With every prayer, with every step toward forgiveness, with every moment of surrender, God is working behind the scenes to restore what was lost. The things that hurt you most are the very things that God will use to build you up, to make you stronger, and to bring you closer to the person He created you to be. You're not broken beyond repair. You're being remade into something even more beautiful than before. Healing also requires trust. Trust that God's timing is perfect and that His plan is better than anything you could have imagined. It's easy to doubt when pain lingers, but the truth is, He is with you in every moment, walking alongside you as you move toward restoration. The wounds may be deep, but His love is deeper still, and as you open your heart to His healing touch, you will begin to experience wholeness in ways you never thought possible. So hold on. The journey may be long, but it is worth every step. God's restoration plan is underway, and He is making all things new in your life. Trust the process and know that your healing is drawing near. There have been times when you doubted yourself. You wondered if anyone truly cared, if you were worthy of love, or if you would ever find your place in the world. But through it all, there was one constant: God's unfailing love. His love for you has never wavered, even in the moments when you were at your lowest. While the world may have rejected you, God has always seen your worth, and His love for you is unshakable. You may have been through seasons of doubt where you questioned God's presence in your life. You may have felt abandoned, hurt, or unworthy. But God's love was always there, holding you, even when you couldn't feel it. His love is not conditional on your perfection or your performance. It is a love that transcends all your flaws, your mistakes, and your past. It is a love that was given freely and will never fail you. No matter what you've done or how far you've strayed, God's love is waiting to embrace you. There's nothing you can do to earn it, and nothing you can do to lose it. His love is constant, unconditional, and perfect, and in His love you are free to be yourself, imperfect, messy, but loved beyond measure. He is the source of your worth, and His love for you will never change. Know this: God's love for you is not dependent on your actions. It's rooted in His divine character. He will never give up on you, no matter how many times you stumble. You are His beloved, and His heart will always be with you, lifting you, guiding you, and loving you through it all. Storms have a way of shaking us to our core. Whether it's financial struggles, health battles, or broken relationships, the trials of life can make us question everything we thought we knew. But even in the fiercest storms, God's faithfulness is unwavering. He is the anchor that keeps you grounded, even when the waves of life threaten to drown you. Through every storm you face, He is there, walking with you, providing the strength you need to endure. In the midst of your trials, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. You may feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and ready to give up. But the truth is, God is using these challenges to refine you. He doesn't promise that life will be free of storms, but He does promise that He will be with you in every one of them. His faithfulness doesn't change based on your circumstances. It remains constant, a steady presence in the chaos. Your storm may seem unrelenting, but know that God is using it to build resilience in you. He's teaching you to trust in Him, to rely on His strength, and to rest in His promises. Through the storm, He is shaping you into the person you were always meant to be. The rain may fall, but it will nourish the seeds of growth that God has planted in your heart. The storm will not last forever, but the strength you gain through it will stay with you for a lifetime. So take heart. The storm may be fierce, but God's faithfulness is even fiercer. Trust in His presence, rely on His strength, and know that He is using this season to prepare you for something greater. You will come through this stronger, more resilient, and more aligned with His purpose for your life. Prayer is not just a ritual or a set of words. It is a lifeline. It is your direct connection to the Creator, the one who knows your heart and sees your every need.